Greetings everyone. This is a quick promo before the video begins. If you're new to the channel and you didn't know it yet, I am actually an author in addition to being a YouTuber, and I have 2 books that you can get on Amazon. Operation Red Dragon: The Daikaiju Wars Part 1 and The Occult Mafia. The first is sort of a bizarre, absurdist kaiju anime mashup, and the other is a horror noir story with a hint of a western thrown in there. They're both set in the same universe, and at this point have received mostly positive reviews, so you might want to check them out. I've provided Amazon links for both of them down in the description. They're both available in either paperback or Amazon Kindle, and Operation Red Dragon is also available in audiobook form. So if either of these strike your fancy and you want to support a struggling artist, feel free to go down and check out either one or both of them. Alright, the shameless self-promotion is out of the way, we can get on with the video. Thank you all for your support. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Omniviewer, and I'm here to talk about the Animaniacs reboot again because as I've been seeing more of it and as I've really been thinking about it, something occurred to me, something that I wasn't able to place when I did my initial review, and now that I'm actually able to recognize it, I feel that it needs to be said. This is not a retraction of anything I said in the first video, mind you, and I suppose I should also say this should be taken in good faith. I know that at least it seems like the people behind this new show are assuming that any sort of criticism from someone like me against the reboot is done in bad faith. They've certainly made enough jokes in that regard, but I promise you guys, that's not the way I intend for anything I say about the reboot to be taken. I am doing my best to remain in good faith with all of this because I want to like this. I want to like the reboot, and I want to say it is a worthy successor. But I've pinpointed the reason why I don't quite feel like it gets there yet. It struck me as I was really thinking about the reboot song, the Just Reboot It, you know? You've probably seen it if you've seen the series by now. And it struck me, really struck me, what the tone of this show was like. Because it was, of course, taking a very cynical, self-aware, tongue-in-cheek look at the idea of rebooting franchises over and over and over and over and over again, and acknowledging that, yeah, it's a reboot. We're part of the problem. And one of the things they used as an example was rebooting the Looney Tunes. And Looney Tunes has gone through a lot of reboots. Like, after Looney Tunes Back in Action kind of flopped in theaters, and Duck Dodgers ran for a few seasons on Cartoon Network and then just sort of faded out of most people's memories, Looney Tunes went through a whole bunch of different reboots that just never quite landed for one reason or another. You had Baby Looney Tunes, which was way too late to be riding the coattails of Muppet Babies. You had Lunatics Unleashed, which completely missed not only the point of Looney Tunes, but also the point of the anime it was imitating. You had the Looney Tunes show, which I just don't think the kind of sitcom flavor they were going for really meshed well with the characters. You had Wabbit, which became New Looney Tunes, which tried to be a return to form while also trying to inject some new blood into everything, and yet was really hit or miss. And now, of course, you have Looney Tunes cartoons on HBO Max. I almost said Cartoon Network, but no, it's HBO Max. And when they pointed that out in the Animaniacs Reboot It song, and they were making it look like Warner Brothers is overdoing it. Images of Bugs Bunny just looking tired, a billboard that says Looney Tunes Zombies, which clearly is not meant to be taken literally. The tone they're going for, the message they're going for is that the Looney Tunes are literally just corpses being puppeted at this point. But I thought about Looney Tunes cartoons and I thought, wait a minute, that's not how that feels. I mean, yes, it's the latest reboot, but it looks amazing. It has a vibrancy and a liveliness to it that the Looney Tunes haven't had in a very long time. And I like those things. It managed to strike that balance of doing new stuff while retaining the classic style. So I feel like it kind of missed the mark with that almost. But why do I feel that way? Why do I feel like Looney Tunes Cartoons works, but Animaniacs 2020 doesn't quite get there? Because I have an equal feeling of nostalgia for both. I grew up with both at the same time, so why do I have that separation, I guess? I've thought about it and I've realized Animaniacs 2020 is just cynical. Too cynical for its own good. Now, to be clear, I understand that the original show had a healthy dose of cynicism running through its veins. It was cynical about other entertainment companies, especially Disney. It was cynical about the entertainment company producing it, Warner Brothers. It was cynical about Hollywood in general. It was cynical about politics, whether it was Democrats, Republicans, or stuff outside of America, foreign leaders and foreign systems. It was cynical about whatever it felt was worth being cynical about. But that didn't mean it was cynical the whole way through. It had sincerity to it as well. It had heart. That's the thing. And it was never cynical about itself. Even as it was tearing down everyone else in entertainment, it then stood up and said, "Watch as we outdo them all and actually provide you with quality." And for the most part, it succeeded in proving itself. And even when it went in a self-deprecating direction, it did a self-deprecating joke because that was the funniest thing it could do at that point. So that was still part of the sincerity of being quality entertainment. But with the reboot, it feels like cynicism is all it knows. It's constantly referencing the fact that it is a reboot and making jokes about how it is a soulless cash grab that's riding on fanboy nostalgia. And you know, I would understand including those kind of jokes in the first episode or the first two episodes, maybe stretching it to the third at the most. But the joke is extended over the whole 13 episode season. At a certain point, it stops feeling like a self-aware joke and starts feeling more like an admission of guilt. Like it actually is just a soulless cash grab and it can't provide any sort of counter-argument. I certainly can't. And the thing is, I never felt like it got past that. I was waiting for it to, but it never felt like it did. And in order to demonstrate what I mean by getting past that cynicism of being a reboot, there is some example I can give you of what I'm talking about, of what I'm looking for. That example is another series that started in the early 90s and has Steven Spielberg's name attached to it, or at least associated with it. My example is Jurassic World. Regardless of how you feel about the movie, just hear me out on this. A lot of commentators have said that Jurassic World is a cynical blockbuster, and they say that as a criticism. Now, I happen to like Jurassic World as a movie. When it was first released, I said that it was the closest to reaching the tone of the original film that any of the Jurassic sequels had come to so far. It didn't quite get there, and it stumbled a lot along the way, but it came the closest. And I actually agree with the idea that it does have a lot of cynicism in it, but I don't think that's the point. I don't think the cynicism is actually what it is about, at least not the way that commentators have been saying it. Allow me to explain. In the first half of the movie, we see two different perspectives. The first perspective is that of the people who are actually attending the park. They're going to Jurassic World to experience its rides and see the dinosaurs, and everywhere we look, we see that people are enjoying it. This is John Hammond's vision fully realized. The park is open, and hey, it works. Nobody's dying. Everyone gets to see the dinosaurs, and it's really cool. It's a place I want to visit. Even the teenage boy who thinks he's too hip for the room can only pretend to be distracted so long before he's finally won over by the awe of dinosaurs. And we see that with our own eyes. It's obvious. But then we have the other perspective. The perspective of the people who are putting money into the park. The producers, if you will. And they feel that dinosaurs are passé. People don't care about them anymore. Our sales have dipped ever so slightly, which means we need to do something drastic in order to get people back. We need to move past those boring dinosaurs and bring in something different. Make us a hybrid dinosaur with our corporate sponsorship. And there are plenty of people working within the park who know that doesn't really make sense. They know it's a stupid idea. People are coming to see the dinosaurs. They do like the dinosaurs. But the people putting money into it are the ones who call the shots. So they go ahead and make the Indominus Rex, who eventually escapes. And that's when everything goes to hell and the park winds up falling apart the way it always seems to. A lot of people latch on to all that dialogue at the beginning about the people running Jurassic World saying dinosaurs are passé, no one cares anymore, and think that's the movie telling them what they are and are not interested in, and thus take umbrage with it. I don't think it actually occurs to any of them that we're not supposed to agree with these people. We see the evidence that they are wrong, and that they're being cynical about something that really they shouldn't be cynical about. They claim to know what the people want, but they're completely out of touch, and they wind up doing something stupid that ruins all of that awe. And the Indominus Rex, in a way, embodies that cynicism and the harm that it causes to something that was running smoothly before. But then we get to the finale, and the solution to defeating the Indominus Rex is to bring in the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Now, if you know the behind the scenes and the extra stuff in the backstory, it is supposed to be the literal Tyrannosaurus Rex from the first movie, but that really is immaterial. Whether you know that or not, you know that the Tyrannosaurus Rex is one of the things you associate with that first Jurassic Park. You see a T-Rex in a Jurassic movie, that's what you think. It's in the logo, for heaven's sake. So when the T-Rex makes her grand entrance, that's when the movie says, we're not going to revel in our cynicism. We are going to embrace the wonder and artistry of that original film. And it's that moment where Rexy bursts onto the scene, plowing through the Spinosaurus skeleton, which also serves as a great middle finger to Jurassic Park 3. It's that moment when I first saw it in theaters where I went, I get it now. Now it all comes together. This is what the movie is talking about. It's won me over. Even with its flaws getting here, I get it. So that's the idea. The movie does have a healthy dose of cynicism in it, but it's about getting away from that cynicism and embracing sincerity instead, which culminates with that T-Rex moment. Animaniacs 2020 doesn't have a T-Rex moment. It's cynical at the beginning, and it stays cynical all the way to the end. Like I said, it keeps referencing the fact that it's a soulless nostalgia trip the whole way through. And that's rubbing me the wrong way. It's keeping me from really liking it the way I like the original series. And again, I'm not saying this in bad faith. I'm saying it because I think if the show is to last, it needs to get past that. I don't necessarily know what it's gonna take. We know that there's a second season coming. Hulu signed everyone on for 2 seasons. The first season is done. Second season is at least in production. And from what I've heard, they are going to bring back the original characters. Whether or not they're bringing back all the original voice actors, I don't know. But I do think the plan is to bring back the original characters like they set up in episode 5. However, even if they did bring the original cast back, I don't necessarily think that is the solution. I think what they need to do is just get back to having heart. And I wish I could say how to get there, but there really is no single way to get there. I just kind of have to trust that the writers will know how to. Look, I know I've been saying that the show is coming across like it's admitting to being a soulless, cynical cash grab, but that's just how the show is coming across. I'm willing to give the showrunners the benefit of the doubt and believe that they are trying to be sincere in making it a good show. Based on all the interviews I've seen, everyone involved in the show does seem enthusiastic about making the show as good as it possibly can be. But I don't feel like that's really coming through in the show itself yet. It feels like the show is too wrapped up in what it is and what people are inevitably going to perceive it as to really get to a point of what it could be. And it's my hope that it does get there by season 2. Otherwise, season 2 will be the last bit, and the show will fade again. I don't necessarily know if it'll be considered the worst entry for those characters. I think that title will still probably go to Pinky, Elmira, and the Brain, but it still won't be that fondly remembered if it stays on this particular course. So, on the off chance that anyone working on Animaniacs happens to see this, all I ask is for a little more sincerity, a little more heart, a little more of that spark that made Animaniacs great to begin with. I want to believe you guys can do it, and I hope you do. So, yeah, that's just the revelation I had after making my original video, and it's where I stand anyway. I've spoken to people who don't mind the cynicism, but I do. And I'm sure there are others who do as well. And even if you don't mind it now, people have their limits. People can only take so much cynicism before they eventually tire of it and want something that's not in that vein. So, that's all I have to say. I hope it gets there. We will see if it does. Until such time as we meet again, this is the OmniViewer signing off. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Like and subscribe, then go down to the description to find links to follow us on DeviantArt, Patreon, and Twitter. While you're there, you'll also find the Amazon links for the original novels Operation Red Dragon, The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, and The Occult Mafia. 2 books I think you'll really enjoy. Thank you all, and we appreciate your support.